Have you ever felt like you already know how something ends before it even begins? Like a story is unfolding, but you've seen it before. Not in a book, not in a film, but somewhere, just behind your eyes. It's not déjà vu, it's deeper than that. It's not a memory, but a recognition. Some moments don't feel new, they feel remembered, but not from this life. So where do they come from? And why do they feel so familiar when you're certain they never happened? Today we're asking, why are some stories inside us before we even hear them? Some things feel true before you can explain them. You see a painting and it hits you, not for what it shows, but for what it reminds you of, even if you don't know what that is. Or you hear a melody, just a few notes, and suddenly you feel homesick for a place that doesn't exist. It doesn't make sense, but it makes something. That sense of recognition, of resonance, doesn't always need memory. It just appears, like a pattern emerging through fog. You don't understand it. You feel it like your mind already knew a shape, and the world briefly matched it. Psychologists call them archetypes, story patterns, emotional blueprints, the hero, the fool, the journey home. They show up everywhere, in every culture, in every time. The names change, the details shift, but the bones stay the same. Maybe you never read the ancient myths, but you've still lived them. In stories, in dreams, in the way your thoughts arrange the world. They're not taught, they're inherited, like your brain was born with scaffolding, ready to hang meaning on everything it sees. Even if you don't know the myth, you feel its gravity. It pulls on your thoughts, like the moon pulls on tides. What if some stories don't come from experience, but are how you build experience? What if your first heartbreak already had a shape before you met the person? What if the story of loss was already inside you, and the world just gave it details? You didn't learn what grief means, you recognized it. Some feelings don't feel like discovery, they feel like confirmation, like your mind already knew what was coming. Not consciously, not logically, but in a quiet, structural way. It feels old, familiar, like a memory without a source, not something you created, something that was already there, waiting. So, where does it come from? Some say biology, survival instincts, dressed as stories, symbols that kept us alive, just long enough to keep telling them. Others say culture, patterns passed down from parents, movies, religion, an inheritance made of metaphors. But some believe it goes deeper. Carl Jung called it the collective unconscious, a shared mind beneath the personal one, a layer under thought where stories don't just reflect you, they form you. Maybe your brain isn't a blank slate, maybe it's a book with faded words, and life just traces over them, not teaching you the story, but reminding you of the one already written. The story you've never heard, but always knew, might not be fiction at all. It's how your brain makes sense of chaos. It's how you become someone instead of just something. Because stories aren't entertainment, they're structure. They hold the weight of being alive. They shape emotion into meaning. They give pain a beginning, a middle, and sometimes a reason. That quiet voice in you, that whisper that says, I've seen this before. Maybe it's not memory, maybe it's your mind catching up to a truth it's always carried. You were born with stories inside you, and somehow they've been waiting for the world to match. They echo in your thoughts, in your dreams, in the feelings you don't know how to explain. A story you've never heard, but always new. And maybe that's what it means to be human.